Hey, we're here with James Too Good Harding, the host of this Corsair Vengeance tournament here at DreamHack Winter 2012. James, was this a Too Good studio production or a DreamHack production?
I guess it was a mix of both. We originally got asked to do it because they know we Good Studio quite like doing production, and we do some good events. And then so yeah, we said yeah, we'll take it on, and then they said, well, we could just bring our equipment down and we'll handle the build and the equipment, etc. And we were like, yeah, okay. And yeah, in many ways, I wish maybe I was with our equipment, but overall, everything's turned out really nicely. It was just unfortunate that we had like a sound cable that wasn't really doing its job, and then the sound guy was flying in from Canada for DreamHack, and then we got it replaced, and then we had to get another one, and so we lost a bit of in-game audio on the first day. But generally, the Good Studio, we don't even mind if we get mess-ups, because we kind of just roll with anything, and we concentrate on making everything entertaining as well as bringing great games. So overall, I'm really happy with DreamHack, and I'm really happy with what we've done. But of course, yeah, it's been fun for me, because I don't mind if anything goes wrong.
It's an opportunity for you.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, but for Trans, I think he was a little bit stressed on the first day because he's working with a new set of equipment, and yeah, and he had to put it all together himself with no manual. So, but he did a great job. So,
how much of the things you experienced at the international did you put into this production?
Well, I mean, with the international, I got to give just feedback to Valve, like before the event in terms of what they were doing, and also after the event, and they were just a team of people that really managed to focus on what I felt was important. So in terms of what we really wanted, it's more actually the security of the casters keeping their voices. I know Toby doesn't lose his voice, but it was like, we've got 14 hours today. We had a long day yesterday, and the final day will be easier. So I wanted 4 people, not just because of having a panel, but also so people could take breaks. I mean, Toby took an hour nap today. Mine was about an hour and a half, and I've jumped away for an interview now. So it was more just to make sure the energy levels were going to be okay, because I don't want. At the Good Studio, we focus on like 2-hour content, 3-hour content, and make sure that everyone comes in and has that energy to really put on a good show. And I was making sure we had that here. So we've had some good highs here. We've had some laughs on camera with all 4 on the panel. We've also been a bit tired at times as well. But overall, yeah, really happy. And we wanted to do a little bit more of video production with our video guy from the Good Studio.
Why was that not possible?
Huh?
Why was that not possible?
Well, it was possible, but it was more, we wanted to do like kind of highlights, and he ended up making a day one recap, which really fent internationally. But it was more because it was just like he wanted to get, he's a video guy for every kind of game rather than a specialist. So getting the people that had time backstage to work with him on what clips were good, what was happening, it happened at the end of the day. So he ended up coming in at 7 in the morning and making a nice little recap video. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. But overall, yeah, we just wanted to focus on the games and keeping people entertained. So we did an okay job. I'm overall happy, but I'll be happy when the Good Studio get to do some of their own Dota 2 content in the future, and that will be when we really get to shine, I feel.
Talking about that, you already highlighted some time ago on that Join Dota talk show that you would like to host some tournament on your own. Mm-hmm. Can you give us any update on that?
We had some prize money that we wanted to use for the end of the year, but we're going to push that into 2013. I think it's just going to be a small introduction tournament. It is in a larger scale than we do with the arenas, which is $1,000. So we'll probably do like $2,500 to start with, and just based off the results and how we do, we'll then look to put on like a $10,000 tournament. So there's
both in Sweden.
The 2,500 will definitely be online, because I don't think teams should fly out for that much money. If we do a $10,000 minimum, we'll look to bring potentially just maybe the 2 final teams over to the Good Studio house and also studio, and then really make a good showing and a lot of PR around those 2 teams, and make sure we get a lot of interviews and just really highlight who they are and what's going on with either European or North American Dota, and hopefully the prize money will justify the teams wanting to support them to come out and the coverage that we can do, because I think we can do a really good job with production. We've done some good stuff at the house already with like Asus ROG, so yeah, we're all right. We're doing okay.
Getting more and more experience. Talking about working with players on the production over here at DreamHack, I saw Wagamama once co-casting, but you didn't do much player interviews or stuff like that. How is that going to evolve on the third day?
Well, I mean, not all the players are going to be available, and not all the players want to take themselves out of the game mindset to come on and do some PR. But we've been able to bring on Sing Sing, Wagamama, Snake King so far. And yeah, I feel like anyone's available to really come up and be on there. But logistically, within the tournament area and the schedule on both ends, it's probably been something that we maybe should have pre-planned in terms of making sure that we had that. Puppy said he would want to come up, but then when I turned around, he had a line of people wanting autographs. But yeah, no, I think generally the players of this tournament have been promoted pretty well, because we've been able to keep people on stream quite well, and we've had a lot of time to focus on that one game because we've had community casters. But I prefer doing things much more like the good couch, where we really get to sit down and talk to them for a more lengthy period of time, because sometimes when we get breaks here, we got half an hour and everyone's got to eat. So I mean, I wish that we could focus on that a little bit more, but overall I think the coverage outside of what we've done on the websites, etc., have also done a great job promoting the players. So I think DreamHack have put on a very strong Dota 2 tournament so far.
Coming to day 3, which is coming up, the grand final, game 2 and the possible game 3 will not be on that stage and the player area, but in the big hall. At least in the second big hall available here at DreamHack. Yeah. Last summer we had the problem that the players were able to hear the cast. Do you know something about this has changed today?
It's already changed. I spoke to DreamHack, and they've got noise cancelling headphones now for
like ESL.
Yeah, like the ones that big helicopter headphones. So, not sure why they didn't do that a while ago. I guess it's just getting them. I know they're not the easiest things to find and pick up. They're quite an oddity or a rarity, it seems. But yeah, DreamHack, when they gave me a tour, I went around with Robert. He was like, I think it was Grey Khan actually was there, and he said, yeah, we've got noise cancelling headphones now. So no one, they won't even be able to hear Toby, hopefully.
Can you already say who's going to cast the grand final?
We'll probably put Toby up on there, just because his enthusiasm with a live crowd is great. In many ways, I was really hoping he would also do the finals of the international. So we've been using Toby as our main play-by-play commentator, and then Draskell and Gods. The one great thing I really enjoy about working with the Dota 2 commentators is there really isn't a lot of ego going around. Everyone's kind of like, hey James, we'll do whatever is needed, and they can jump in and go on. And even Toby as well is okay, of course taking a break and letting others cast some great games as well. So it's really Gods and Draskell will probably be like, flip a coin, but of course it will be who gets some of the semis, and then but Toby will be there for the finals.
Talking about the teams, which teams did surprise you or impress you?
I'm a big fan of Fnatic, just generally, from as a team and as a group of guys. I just think what they did in Hon was amazing. And when they said they were coming into Dota 2, I was just like, yeah, this will work. It will take a little bit longer than maybe some would expect, and they might have to take a hit to their, kind of confidence getting into this game. But I'm a big fan of those guys, and I think they have already proven to do well so far, and I would like to see them do more. Empire are looking really great against Dignitas. Dignitas, I feel, are up against a lot in this tournament, just because they're quite new to LAN, and this is a big experience for them. They don't solely maybe get to just focus on the game. There's a lot going on if you're the first time at DreamHack, and it's a bit overwhelming. So, but I really have to see how Na'Vi are going to do as well, because like I said it in the international, and we did lots of takes for the documentary for Valve, and I was like, I've seen it so many times before. It's like, doesn't matter what happens to Na'Vi in the group stage. That kind of team, that kind of synergy can go all the way, and I think people are expecting them. But I'm really impressed by Fnatic.
Yeah, Navi's team manager even said he finally wants to win DreamHack once at least. Yeah. So, talking about what Dota 2 is going to look like in half a year or a year. You said that you have the feeling that League of Legends has, in the long run, the worse business model than Dota 2. But you didn't really explain what you meant. Can you do that now?
I just think that when you build something around esports and where you situate yourself is in terms of marketing expenses, you have to be very smart with what you do and why you do it. And I feel that Riot, in many ways, are wanting to look the biggest because it's actually like a business model within itself. I mean, if you put products in a shop to sell, sometimes you do put in your product is just the most expensive, so people think, oh, it's the most expensive. So what they're doing within esports is kind of saying we are that kind of the biggest. But I don't believe that the ROI that they're going to get, even though they will get the best ROI, just because it's a free-to-play game. Against something like StarCraft, will necessarily be what they want in return. So I have actually put them down for like a 5-year lifespan, which is quite very good actually for an esport game. I say a good esport game should be a minimum of 5 years, but I just generally think that the philosophy that Valve have in how they're building Dota 2 and how the community's taking it and how Valve are building means and methods for the community, casters, pro players, and that fly to be able to be sustainable outside of like sponsorships and stuff and just cash injections, because when you inject cash into something you can never really say how successful that is, because it's kind of an artificial success within esports. But when the community take it and the community go out and do it, and the viewers are willing to buy in-game tickets, and in the future who knows what else they can do within the Valve shop and system for esports, then you really get an idea of how big that game can be as an esport. And I just think Valve have great philosophy, and I think that game's going to just do a lot better long term than Riot will.
So the International as a once a year thing where they really put a lot of money in that, and that's definitely not coming back to them at that weekend.
No, yeah, but I think even over the whole year, you've got people turning up, pro gamers here, going, we in their interviews, they're like, we want to win the International free. So you've got that kind of carrot on the end of the stick kind of thing for the end of the year when it finishes. And I think that's really important. In many ways, I would love Valve to work closer with their partners in terms of LAN events, and because Valve are a very big company, work closer with bringing in sponsors as well. It doesn't have to be through Valve directly, but actually connecting as a, if you're Valve and you go to someone like Coca-Cola, Red Bull, or etc., and you're being like, this is our game and this is what we're going to be doing, and there's in-game exposure, and this company like DreamHack or this company like MLG or Intel Extreme Masters, etc., are going to handle the live event production. But Valve are the ones that are initiating that. That's worth so much, and I think as a company they have the capabilities to actually move that forward. They don't necessarily have to go to ESL and be like, here's a cash injection, please make our game exclusive, awesome, big, and don't let anyone else look like a competitor. But what Valve can do is they can really introduce the right partners into esports. So hopefully they're taking a good look at how big esports is within their game and what they can do with their partners, because I know they're working very closely with what the community wants, focusing on the customers with the in-game experience. But I also think they need to focus a lot on what they can do with their tournament partners, because I'm not sure what their deals are in place. I'm sure that Valve aren't doing anything apart from saying, sure, run a tournament because we think you're awesome. But it would be interesting to see what the future holds.
Yeah. So what Riot basically has done, working with partners, and now pulls back. When we look at Season 3, they kind of go into a monopolized situation, and Valve still has to do this first step. Do you say something like that?
As in first step of, how do you mean first step?
Going into into partnerships with other.
Yeah, I think Valve are doing will be looking to do the first step. I mean, it's only natural that they should be looking to talk to all the LANs, etc., and what they're doing, and then trying to figure out the way best to work with them. Like Blizzard they give out partnerships and licenses to run the tournaments, and they did inject a good amount of cash into esports by running the WCS, where they actually paid for the production, which was run by the major companies in esports, so there was an income for them there. I don't think WCS will be here next year. I think because of that announcement with ESL, IEM, and MLG, I think that's something to do with Blizzard in terms of they want to work something with like a more standardized structure within their game. But that's also quite scary for someone like Dota fans, because in many ways, if Blizzard are coming in and they're giving direct support and direct structure, and are these companies going to be able to take a license with, for example, Valve and Dota 2, where look at the DreamHack ISO Open, that's it has its sponsors and it has StarCraft 2. Now, if Blizzard start backing that in a more serious way next year, does that allow DreamHack to take on another game? We don't know that, and even at this tournament, there's a big finals in the Shin-Ups Arena. And a few years, I think a year ago, that had Quake, StarCraft 2, Street Fighter, etc.
And this time only StarCraft.
It's only StarCraft 2, and that does make sense in many ways, because that arena is most likely solely being paid for the sponsors of the StarCraft 2. So bringing another game to the big stage, but at the same time, how much influence do the different publishers and developers have on that situation? So I do think it's very important that Valve really kind of work out a way they can work with LAN partners and build the community in a really strong way outside of necessarily just handing over cash. And the time is now for them, because otherwise it's going to be not tough for Dota 2 just because the player base is so big and everyone's so passionate, but I would want a lot of good growth before the international free hits, more so than online cups.
At the same time, MLG and ESL have slowly started some form of Dota 2 section within them. Do you think they are too late or too timid?
I don't think MLG are ever really too late with anything. With MLG, when they get onto a project, they end up kind of refining it over time. They never really get it right the first time round, it seems. But they've introduced it to the Battlegrounds, MLG Battlegrounds, and I think MLG are one of these companies that's quite big and a big powerhouse in US of A, that they can just work with anyone they want to, in terms of, that doesn't have to be oh no, we can't touch these two games. ESL did already some Dota stuff a long time ago, but I don't think the community had a great reception to some of their Dota tournaments. So too late, no, but doing the right thing in the first 2 quarters of next year, I don't see anything big coming out of either of them for Dota 2. I just think everyone's, in many ways, one of the biggest problems is everyone's so bloody busy now in esports, because it's just such a big growth, and I'm sure if there, if there wasn't StarCraft 2 being so popular, and there wasn't, Riot Games just, taking a lot of people's time, I'm sure Dota 2 would be a primary focus. So we'll see.
And even if we go half a year further, we will have, even if we have MLG and ESL by then we'll all be in the preparations of TI3. So the year of Dota 2 is kind of structured into the TI summer event. And people are already looking on how do I get better for TI3. Yeah. Navi already said, Hovast in the interview yesterday,
I heard
they want to go to China.
Yeah.
Or they have to go to China, he said. And Loda and his team with No Doubt Hunter, they said, our goal is TI3. So how do they... is it really the solution to go to China for European teams, or...?
I think the skill level of the players are equal across, the China and Europe and North America. I just think the team fights in China are just so much more just amazing in terms of how they're coordinating and how they're saving each other, and there's certainly less throws. I do believe that we need team houses in Europe rather than just ship everybody over to China. I don't think necessarily just going to China is going to make you amazing. We saw that with some StarCraft players. You don't magically go to Korea and become better. It's how you train. And so I think team houses in Europe, team houses in America can really nurture the scene. But one of the biggest problems with the growth within that area is sponsors aren't like the hardcore esport guys. They're not as on the forefront. They talk to a lot of people, but generally Dota despite having big numbers in game and big numbers on stream, the sponsors are still slower to get involved. Even when I talk to just general sponsors around, everyone's still talking about StarCraft 2, and I just think that the team support, the player support that they can get from their franchises and their teams isn't big enough yet to take it that seriously. But I think that the sponsors haven't necessarily caught on with how big Dota 2 can and potentially will be. So that's why I really want some good tournaments, just to kind of show, you have to make
DreamHack.
Yeah, you have to make noise to the industry. So that's why we want to do tournaments and other people, so the sponsors will catch on, the teams will get better support for their players, and players will get in training houses and will get better. And I think they can stay in Europe and America. I don't think we need to ship them off to China.
One thing that definitely helped in the past 1 or 2 years was big numbers on your live streams. But I mean, at DreamHack we have a free Dota TV, which kind of lowers definitely the number of people watching on a live stream, which can be counted. So, I mean, you can't really monetize your Dota TV stream, right?
Well, maybe you can in the future. I mean, monetizing doesn't have to come from, for tournament organizers, just the ad revenue, or to say we had this many concurrents. A lot of people don't work with concurrents and sponsorship. They work with viewing numbers and average viewing time, etc. But there's so many things that could be amazing within what Valve do. For example, we're here at DreamHack, right? Let's say DreamHack had organized with Valve to have a special courier, a DreamHack courier, that's only available over the course of the DreamHack tournament. And if you're in Dota TV, maybe you have a chance of winning it. So obviously when like a triple kill happens or something awesome, so people are within the system, but at the same time you've got a limited amount of time maybe to buy it, and then also DreamHack will get a % of that because they're the ones promoting this great content. So DreamHack at the end of it could say, if you want to say we made this much, we took this much from our sponsors and did this great event, we made this much on our ad revenue and the stream in terms of monetization, and then Valve helped us create these methods that the community wanted to spend their money on something that they felt was cool because DreamHack did a great job, and thought, I'll buy the courier because it's A, cool, B, to support them, or C, this, and then they can look at that within their business model supporting tournaments. And I think with a free-to-play game and what Valve have and all the systems that they have, they are the first people that can actually do that, and I think that will be a big support and a big plus to the event organizers when they actually look at Dota TV. Because originally I was a bit like, Dota TV takes people away from streams, but at the same time there's a lot within Steam that can really just promote and help, and so yeah.
You only have to explain it to your partners, right?
Yeah.
They will have to understand how it works sometime.
Yeah, but just a lot of pressure, not a lot of pressure, but a lot of responsibility is on Valve for the success of this game. I mean, a lot of people say, esports is really made up from the community, but it really is. It's a partnership with Valve, and so I don't necessarily know if they have a department for esports or are ever going to.
Do they have departments anyway?
Exactly. Yeah, they don't. But I know that they all are watching closely, and from when I spoke to them at the International, I really kind of agreed with their philosophies and ideals for the game. So it's with big companies like that, it's always going to take a while, but at least we're not left with like a Battle.net 2.0, which
is a stone.
Yeah,
but with Facebook integration.
Yeah, which was pretty shitty, and then didn't move forward, and then there was an uprising. We're actually in Dota, we're getting lots of cool features, and I don't think even the event organizers like DreamHack wouldn't imagine the possibility of being able to like sell a DreamHack courier through something that I spoke to them about, and they're maybe going to talk to Valve about, and then that could potentially happen. But that's something that they've created an opportunity for.
What's the player's responsibility in this way to success for Dota 2?
It's really how about they promote themselves in storylines. StarCraft 2 is still going really, really strong, and the reason is every person you see up there on stream and every person that gets casted in the game, we all know their storylines. We know their personal story, we know their personality, we know how hard they've trained, what their schedule's been, what their past results are, and I feel that the players do have a tougher time in Dota 2 because they're connected with a team, so it's harder to kind of say, I am this kind of star player. but I do feel that just the players' responsibility, is getting their names and brands out there more. And I also feel that's a team responsibility as well, because not everybody's media trained, not everybody knows when to do an interview, when not to do an interview. So, like, even me, when I said I want to do that tournament and just bring in 2 teams, I would run that tournament over like 2 days, like maybe a best of 7 or something, or 2 or 3 best of 5s over 2 days, and then we'd get so much camera time with these players that the viewers would be like, I really know that player now, and I think he's cool, or I don't like him, or whatever their opinion is. At least they have an opinion, so they feel some emotion and have a connection with the players. Like when I listen to the casters, etc., and they say like Templar Assassin instead of the player's name, I get kind of annoyed, because I'm like, don't highlight Templar Assassin. Don't turn it into a meta game. Highlight the player playing the game, so when we walk away, we can be like, that was the player that made something happen amazing, and that's the guy I want to remember from that game. So it's all about the players. I mean, that is the ground level of how you should promote esports, is the personalities. It's the most interesting thing. So
in some way, it's pretty good that we don't see the signature heroes of every team banned at the moment. I mean, Dignitas is getting Gyrocopter twice, in 2 times in a row. Empire is getting Templar Assassin and Bounty Hunter all the time.
Yeah, but what I would want to see to promote them even further more is like potentially Valve can be like, hey, Dendi, here is your favorite hero, etc. We're going to make you a custom skin.
A Dendi courier.
No, not
a Dendi Invoker.
Yeah, a Dendi Invoker, right? So you got Dendi, and when he plays these big tournament games, he's using like a custom skin on his Invoker, and it's a signature. It's not only a signature hero now; it's a signature look for Dendi. And there's a possibility that when that sells through the shop, etc., Dendi gets a % of it. So he's more stable within esports through the systems that Valve have in place. And those kind of things, can happen. I'm doing some.
Hopefully Valve will listen. There's one minor thing at the end which I would like to ask you. I mean, Mousebirds was getting rid of the team, then you stood in for SLTV, then there was 0, now they get their team back. Well, what do you think about that?
The whole thing is like, Mousesports and a lot of people in Dota are quite young. So when I heard some of them had signed the contract with Mousesports and some of them haven't, that just bugs me as someone who works in esports, because even a long time ago when I changed teams, I had the team that wanted to have me pay a transfer fee. I wasn't just going to leave because I could, because I was young enough and I wouldn't get in trouble. But I just felt like Mousesports as the players definitely needed to sign those contracts properly. They probably needed someone to walk them through the contracts and talk about the terms and conditions. Mousesports are a huge team, and you can understand how they feel a little bit like, we're not sure if should we send them somewhere when there's no, and we hear these, they might disband. You can't blame them for that. But also Dota 2 is very expensive, so I don't know Mousesports' finances and etc., how much support they could give them and what they wanted. But generally it would have been really nice if someone could have worked with some of the Dota 2 players in a way just to kind of go in, talk to the organization, talk to the players, talk to the organization, say this is what you can expect, and in this clause we've said we've got you down for these events, and if you perform well in these online tournaments you can go to these LAN events, and everything is kosher. So I just felt like it just miscommunication between both people. So I don't put the blame on either of them. And I was really happy when they rejoined. We supported them just because we felt like we want to help these guys. We like them, and we know the community liked them and wanted to see them there. And also StarLadder had already lost one team, so it would have been 2 groups of 3. We enjoy what StarLadder do as well, so we sent them over, and we didn't really care to call them like the Good Studio team. We didn't want like that kind of branding, which we called them the Good Studio B team just to fuck with them. And they did well, and I'm happy they're back in. So I hope Singh sorts himself out somewhere good, whether it be back in Mousesports or somewhere new. But I do believe that a lot of the Dota 2 players are so new to this, because in Dota 1 you didn't really have this kind of opportunity to join these teams. But now within Dota 2, I don't necessarily feel that the negotiation from an experienced team manager down to a very young player is a good fit for sorting out a contract. And so hopefully, I'm doing stuff within this area to help but hopefully, things get smoother with the teams because there's so much going on in Dota 2 with people changing, leaving, and I don't know who's signed contracts, who hasn't.
Things might get smoother with more experience, probably.
Yeah.
Once you see what stuff happens if you don't do it right, you probably have problems. But similar to this, what Namospers did, not that grave probably, but MTW, they have a team, and then they dodge basically to defending their title.
Yeah, but I also heard from the casters that they maybe weren't ready to defend it in terms of how they're performing. So I'm not sure of that. I really can't comment on this because I don't know anything about the situation with the player and the organisation. But, who knows? I guess we'll wait for Synderen's. I've heard he was going to do a statement. So we'll see. We'll see what comes out of it.
Thank you very much for the interview at DreamHack Winter.
Thanks. I enjoyed it.